All right, here we go. Let's get this show on the road. Let's go ahead and, of course, move forward and working on our skills. We are, of course, talking
Recording in
about
progress.
expired this month. So let's go ahead and let's get this going. Of course, for those of you guys that are joining us on YouTube, Instagram, I'm going to encourage you to come join us over on Zoom. So let's go ahead and pick up where we left off yesterday. Any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything of anything that anyone wants to address right out the gate, feel free to let me know. If not, I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in with where we were talking about, of course, yesterday. So we're going to go over the expireds finishing off today. We're going to be doing that tomorrow as well. And then we're going to move on to our database next week. So we're going to be doing database on Tuesday of next week. So any questions, any comments, any concerns, any of anythings? All right, let's go ahead and move on. So we did talk about time. Okay, when to call them. We also talked about the frequency. How many times should we call them? We should be calling these people at least five times throughout the day. As we mentioned, you want to start off with round one, round two, round three. Call all of your other sources, database for sale by owners, lead follow-ups, all of, in a sense, these other sources. Then you're going to move over to round four, and then you're going to go to lunch, okay, or get back to with whatever tasks that you need to, of course, complete. You go about the rest of your your day. You continue, of course, in that administration, negotiating deals. And at the very end, your fifth round is going to be at or after 5 o'clock. Okay, so it's important that you do take that approach. The other thing that I want to mention is in regards to identifying some focal points. A couple of different reasons. Number one is because, let's take a look. So tomorrow's the first. Tomorrow's expire day. Okay, so I'm preparing you guys for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, you're going to have an abundance of these expires show up. Okay, and as far as these expires showing up, you got to be prepared. And what I want you to do is I want you to create two primary focal points. Okay, and the two primary focal points, number one is going to be your top three zip codes. Okay, so your top three zip codes. And these are the zip codes you want to go after. Okay, these are the zip codes you want to go ahead and, of course, put your stake right here. This is what I'm going after. I want to establish my business and do an abundance of business right here. The second focal point is going to be your top three cities. Okay, so for some of you, you are in a smaller town. Some of you, it's one zip code, one city. That's okay. Okay. However, there are cities, for example, like Los Angeles, that has, I think, 27 zip codes. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a little, in a sense, hierarchy, prioritization. So I'm going to prepare you guys for tomorrow. Now, the reason I want you guys to create these two focal points is because as you pull them up, ideally you're starting early in the morning. You want to make sure that you allocate the entire morning for this specific task. This is how I am going to equip you so that you can be in a position and you can capture a listing or two or five tomorrow. So how many of you guys want a listing or five tomorrow? You have the potentials for that. Okay, so it is important that, of course, we understand with what I'm going to share with you guys, and I'm going to go into it in very detail. And of course, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to address any questions if there are any questions that need to be addressed. So as you go through, you pull up the information. And as you pull up the information, you're going to identify that, let's say, for example, there's 50. And of the 50 that show up, you're going to see that there are, I don't know, let's say 10 that fall in those two focal points. Okay, and the reason I have you have two focal points is because, again, as the market goes up, goes down, you're going to have an abundance. If we are in a very, very slow market, we're in a slower market, but we're in an extremely slow market. Okay, when we're in an extremely slow market, you're going to get 60, 70, 80, 100, and you're like, oh my gosh, where do I start? This is overwhelming. And what you're going to do is you're going to identify your top three zip codes. Okay, I got 4 there. Cool. And then you go to your top 3 cities. Okay, I got 6 more right there. So there's 10. Okay, you want to be right about that. You're going to start with these only. Okay, this is, again, I'm equipping you guys for tomorrow. You're going to start with these only. And as you start with these, you're going to call your top 3 zip codes and or your top 3 cities. Why am I saying it like that? Because I don't know. Every market's going to be a little bit different. In your top 3 zip codes, you could have 1. In your top 3 cities, you could have 5. Cool. Go after those 6. But if for some of you, your top 3 zip codes, you can have 15. And then in your top 3 cities, all of a sudden you have 20 more. Okay, so what I want you to do is be right around 10 to 20. So that's going to be your gauge. Okay, that's going to be your gauge. You're going to put the other ones to the side. Everything outside of your top 3 cities and or your top 3 zip codes, you're going to put those to the side. You're going to create this as your round 1, round 2, round 3. Okay, are we all on the same page? So in that, you're going to go through round 1, round 2, round 3, and you're going to do this for your top 3 zip codes and or your top 3 cities only. Do not call the other ones yet. Call the other ones yet. What you're also going to do is once you go through your 3 rounds, you're now going to go into going and door knocking. So you're going to identify the 2, 3, or 4 doors. Round 1, round 2, round 3, and go and door knock to 2, 3, or 4 doors tomorrow. Everything I just mentioned, this is probably in that 8 to 10, 8 to 10:30 window. And the other reason why I want you to identify your top 3 zip codes is ideally they're going to be the closest one to you. They're going to be a 5, maybe 10-minute drive. They're not going to be the 30-minute drive. Okay. So if that's the case, if your top 3 zip codes are 35, 45 minutes away, nope, you got to get the ones that are closer. That, or you have to move yourself. So, okay. Because I don't want you going out and knocking on doors that are 30 minutes away, another 15 from there, and then another 20 from over there, because just the traveling time is going to take a long time. In this, we talked about the 2, 2, 5, or the 5, 5, 10 approach. I don't want you doing this tomorrow, okay? Because you got to be efficient. So you're not going to go to the 1 door. What I've talked about, going and knocking on the 2 doors to the right, the 2 doors to the left, and the 5 across the street. We're not doing this tomorrow. You're just going to that 1 door. You're going to the next door. You're going to the door after that. And then if there's another door, go and get that one. After your door knocking, you're going to come back. Okay, you're going to come back and you're going to start your calling routine again. But now you're going to start with the rest of them. Okay, so let's say, for example, there are 50 that pull up tomorrow. And of the 50, you identified 10 that fall in your top 3 zip codes and your top 3 cities. You're going to do everything I just mentioned. Round 1, round 2, round 3, go and knock on the doors. You're going to come back, and then you're going to start from the top, and you're going to call all of them now, all 50 of them, okay? Not just the 10. And then you're going to go through round 2, and then round 3. You guys with me now? Okay. So then at that point in time, it's going to be a longer day tomorrow for expireds. Very likely 11, 12, maybe even 1 o'clock. Some of you might be 2 o'clock before you're actually done. There's only 2 days I want you to focus on this with expireds. Tomorrow's expire day. It's the 1st of the month. That's the reason I'm equipping you guys with this. Okay, so the 1st of the month, you're going to take this approach. The second day is expire day junior. That's on the 16th. Okay, so tomorrow, if you pull up today, okay, so anybody pull up their numbers today, by the way, expireds? Aqua, did you run your numbers today? You're muted, by the way.
Hi, Robert. Yes. So there were only 8.
Okay. So in that there's 8. Now, ideally, Aqua's going to show up tomorrow, and then we're going to talk about this. And when she shows up tomorrow, I can guarantee Aqua's going to get at least 40 tomorrow. Very likely around 60 or 70. Okay. And this is what ends up happening. On expire day, we get times 4, times 5, and in some cases, even as much as times 10. Okay, so I'm trying to prepare you guys for this, which is really important that we understand this. Okay, now it's a lot to take in, but this is a way you're going to ideally capture. And tomorrow you're going to go and take a listing or 2 or 5 based on what we're talking about. Questions, comments, concerns, observations. Anyone have anything that I can address?
So I've never done door knocking. It just petrifies me.
Observations.
But I'm
Anyone
gonna
have
try
anything that
it. Robert, did you send the script for that?
Yeah. So the scripts, if you guys want scripts, you guys are welcome to go ahead and DM me. I'll send you the scripts for that. And as far as the script is concerned, it's the exact same script that we use over the phone. Okay. So all you're going to do, it's just going to knock on the door. Hi, Aqua. Hi, Aqua.
Yes.
My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. And the reason I'm stopping by is I'm sure you've gotten a bunch of calls by now. And I was just simply seeing, when are you planning on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home? We don't have to role play that, but just to kind of course, to showcase how we approach it.
Okay. Like it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, in that, there's a very good likelihood that the people that are going to answer the door, they're going to be probably about 20% of the version we're going to get on the phone. There are going to be some people you talked to them literally 30 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, as you're leaving the door, and they were like, "Who's this? What? Yeah, you guys have been blowing up my phone. Can you guys like seriously? Like, is this gonna stop?" Okay. And then you're gonna go and knock on the door, and they're gonna go, "Yeah, oh yeah, I've been getting a bunch of calls. I don't know. It's just crazy. I'm just a little bit overwhelmed." So then we're gonna find ourselves, of course, in a situation where these people are gonna be ideally more receptive. Okay. So, and what I mean by 20% version of them is the over the phone, they're going to be really annoyed, agitated, and frustrated. Okay, hold on to that wild Bronco. And then when you go and, of course, knock on the door, when you knock on the door, it's going to be a little bit lesser of a version. It's going to be slight annoyance. Okay, what do you want? Just a little bit more stoic, a little more direct.
So, what time do you start door knocking?
As
Again,
soon
what's
as
the
you're done with
earliest?
your, as soon as you're done with your 3 rounds. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over it again real quick. So just to make sure we're on the same page. So tomorrow, Aqua is very, very, very likely going to get 50, 60, or 70. Of the 50, she identifies in the top 3 zip codes and or cities, there's 10 of them. Of the, of the 10 of them, she's going to do 3 rounds. Round 1, round 2, round 3 over the phone. As soon as you're done tomorrow, Aqua, with your 3rd round, you're going to get your butt in the car. You're going to go drive to house number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. That's likely going to take you an hour and a half. You're now right around 9:30, 10 o'clock. You're making your way back to the office or to your home office. And then you're going to take all 50 of them, and then you're going to start right back at the top, and you're going to work your way all the way down round 1, all the way back round 2, all the way back round 3. Okay, good. Awesome. Any other questions, comments, concerns, anything else of anything else? Okay. So yes, Maria, I think, I just readdressed it. Perfect. Okay. Yes, exactly. You nailed it. So good job. So basically, Maria was just simply asking is with what I just mentioned. So any other questions, comments, anything else? All right. So now what I just described to you as far as the door knocking is concerned, this is only going to be tomorrow's routine. Let me go over the other side, because on Friday, which you're going to go from, very likely Aqua's going to go from 50, 60, or 70 right back down to 3, 4, 5, or 6 again. Okay. And then when we go through that, as far as that door knocking on Friday, you're going to go through your normal morning prospecting. Expired round 1, expired round 2, expired round 3. You're maybe going to get a lead follow-up or 2. You're going to call a database or 2. You're going to call for sale by owner or 2. You're going to do some just listed, just sold, absentees, whatever other sources you're going after. And then you're going to go to round number 4. And then in round number 4, then you're like, okay, well, now I'm a little bit hungry. I'm going to go get something to eat. And at that point in time, option 1 or option 2. Option 1 is you go get yourself something to eat. You go and knock on the 2 or 3 doors at that time. Okay. The alternative, option 2, is, let's say Aqua has an appointment at 5 o'clock. What I would do in that case, for efficiency purposes, instead of going and getting lunch and going and knocking on doors, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to be as efficient as I can. Of course, I'm going to take care of lunch. But then in the afternoon, before my 5 o'clock appointment, very likely around 3:30 or 4 o'clock, I'm going to go to those 2 doors around 3:30 or 4 o'clock, knock on those doors, then go to my 5 o'clock appointment. And after my 5 o'clock appointment, then I'm going to come back and knock on the other door or 2 that didn't answer. Okay. So those are the 2 different types of scenarios, the 2 different types of days. Okay. So I know it's a little bit much. The good thing is we have this, of course, recorded. If you are not a member of now MIT, so if you guys may or may not have noticed, we actually changed the title of our group from TRT, Top Realtor Training, over to MIT, Millionaires in Training, because that's my ultimate goal, is to continue making more and more millionaires. Okay. So, all right. Now let's talk about what I just mentioned a little while ago. We talked about the 225, 5510 method. What are you talking about? A lot of this stuff. Oh my gosh, Robert, there's a lot that you're talking about today. I get it. That's my point. I want to create an abundance of value for you guys. Tomorrow and on the 16th, we do not take this approach, okay? Because there's going to be an abundance of expires. But on all the other days, outside of the 1st and, of course, the 16th, I want you to take the 2-2-5 approach, or the 5-5-10. So as I mentioned with Aqua, going back to the example that I just mentioned, she has a 5 o'clock appointment. Now, ideally, with what I would want Aqua to do is I would want her to go through her normal morning prospecting routine, go to lunch. But now, when she goes and knocks on the doors, she's going to be a little more effective because she's going to knock on the one expired door, but she's also going to knock on the two doors to the right, the two doors to the left, and the five across the street. Okay. Or if the morning schedule was really light, okay, there wasn't really a lot of expires, there was only like two that showed up. I didn't have any lead follow up. I have two people I have to call in my database. I can go and call my just listeds, but instead today I'm going to go and knock on just listeds. Okay, so as I'm going to go and knock on the just listeds, I'm going to have a heavier door knocking day. So on that day, I'm going to go and do probably the 5-5-10 approach. And in that, I'm going to go to the one expired door, knock on the five to the right, the five to the left, and the 10 across the street for the expired and or FISBO. Then I'm going to go and knock on the just listed doors. Then I'm going to come back to that one expired door. Okay. I'm throwing all as much as I possibly can, including the kitchen sink, to you guys today. Okay. In regards to the plan of attack for not only tomorrow, but of course Monday, and of course, as you continue to go about expireds, because we're not going to talk about this for at least a good 3 or 4 months. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to just jump right in. No, we're good. All right, so I'm going to give another note because we're going to move on to a different source here as we continue to move forward. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the quantity, the amount of houses, not numbers. Your goal should be around 10 to 20 a day. That should be your goal in terms of how many I'm calling. So in today's case, Aqua had 8 properties. No problem. Go through, you call your 8. No problem. We're not going to split hairs. But let's just say, for example, Aqua had 2 or 3 properties today. What I would ask if I was coaching Aqua is you got to go and call the older expireds and try to at least attempt 10 different houses. Okay. Now remember, that's not numbers, that's 10 houses. Each house is going to have 3 to 4 different phone numbers. Okay. Now, if you don't have a service provider, okay, you're welcome to let me know. I'll send you a link. Okay, I am pushing and helping and of course supporting Vulcan because they've supported me for a long time. I will send you a link so you can get yourself, of course, registered and get their subscription. They can give you all the details in regards to getting expires for sale by owners, getting just listed absentees, notice of defaults, all kinds of everythings. Okay. Number 2, if you are looking for a dialing system that is getting you closer to 10, 14, or 15 contacts an hour. Yep, that's right. Okay. My buddy Angel has a program called Enzo. And the Enzo dialer, which I can send you a link for that as well, okay, that basically calls 10, 12, or 15 lines at a time. Okay, which is basically this dialing system on steroids. If you guys don't want information on either one, feel free to let me know. Scripts, everything. I'm going to encourage you to continue to just message me. All right, let's move on. Any questions, comments, concerns before we jump into some skills here? All right, let's move on. Let me go ahead and share script. Again, this is the part where Instagram and, of course, YouTube. I'm going to ask if you guys to come over to Zoom. I'm going to share scripts here. And then, Senna, can you give me the option? I don't have the option to share my screen. Thank you. All right, cool. So we're going to go ahead and jump into some skills here. If I can get somebody to participate, anybody that wants to, of course, continue to be better, stronger, and be my next millionaire agent, who wants to work on becoming better in regards to their scripts?
I'll do it, Robert.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Aqua. All right, so whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hello. Hi, I'm looking for Robert.
Yeah, who's this?
Hello, Robert. My name is Aqua. I'm a local realtor, and I'm sure you've received several calls by now regarding your home coming up as an expired listing. I was just calling to see, when do you plan on putting it back on the market?
All right, so let me stop you right there. Okay, I absolutely love that. I want you guys to understand that the pace that she took on this, and there was a little bit of a toot in there, which I appreciate because there is, of course, a little bit of that annoyance and the frustration that comes out of our most expireds, what's called their voice. So great inflection, great mirroring and matching, great job in terms of the pace. So now we're going to jump back into script, but I want to make sure that I made the audience, or I want to make sure that the audience understands in regards to with what we are looking for. Okay. So, Aqua, I don't know if we're really going to be putting this house on the market. We're a little bit agitated with all the calls, and we're probably going to just take a little breather.
Oh, I absolutely understand. And I'm sure, it's been such a probably a very frustrating process for you, very stressful. I completely understand. So you're thinking of taking a breather. Okay. And just curious, Robert, what's stopping you actually now
It's
if you
okay.
had sold if you had sold the home, where were you going next?
Let's do this, okay? Because I definitely interrupted your pattern.
Well, I was going somewhere. I ended up going somewhere
Yeah.
because you had already told me you were frustrated. But yeah,
Okay. So let's go this. Just start with I'm sure, and then we can pick it up from there so that you can build a little momentum going into it.
okay. So I what the intro?
Yeah. Just start with I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure you received several calls by now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So I'm sure you've received several calls by now regarding your home coming up as an expired listing, and just was calling to see, Robert, when do you plan on putting it back on the market?
Um, well, I mean, we really don't know. We weren't really expecting calls this early this morning. So, talking to my wife, we were thinking about maybe just waiting through until summer and then revisiting the idea, I guess, in maybe the fall.
Understood. So you're thinking of just revisiting it back in the fall. Okay, I understand. Just curious, what's stopping you from selling now?
Nothing really. I think if anything, it was just the constant amount of showings, the constant having to clean up, prepping the home for people to come by, and then just I don't know. It's a little frustrating sometimes because unfortunately, realtors are not always professional, and there would be people that sometimes just simply wouldn't show up. So we don't want to go through the headaches, the frustrations, and the annoyances of having to go back and do that again.
Yes, and I absolutely understand. This
Mm,
can be a very frustrating and stressful process, and I'm
mm,
so sorry that you had to even go through that. Let me ask you, Robert, now, if you had sold the home,
mm.
where were you guys going next?
Well, we're looking just to get something a little bit bigger. It's not something that we're absolutely stressed about. We're not necessarily in any sort of a rush. We just, we want a little bit more home.
Little bit more home.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. And now, like, are you guys planning on staying local or are you moving out of state?
No, we're staying here. We're going to stay in the area.
Okay, so you're
Mm,
staying in the area.
mm.
Got it. Okay. Now, how soon are you looking to be there, ideally?
Not really in any sort of a rush. We just want to get there ideally sometime this year.
Okay, sometime this year. Okay,
Hmm.
absolutely. Now, if I can show you a written improvement, well, I'm sorry, if there was a plan that I can show you, that's written improvement that could get you guys homes sold sooner rather than later, would that pose a problem for you?
Not really. I mean, it's not something that, again, it's not something that we're dire to get, of course, sold.
Absolutely, and I can totally I understand, and I've heard everything you've said. Now, all I would need is about 15 minutes just to sit down with you, talk to you for a little bit, and just to go over what I do to get properties sold.
Mm.
Now, if you like what I have to say, that's wonderful. If not, that's fine. At least I've had the opportunity to share the information.
Okay.
There's no pressure, no obligation.
Let's stop right here. So here's the direction I want you to go because in
Okay.
with the direction you're going, you're starting to get into the I. I don't want the I's showing up, at least not at this stage. What I want you to do is I want you to focus on, and I'll show you in just a little bit. We'll reverse role play. I'll show you in the direction that I'm wanting you to go to. Okay, because this person is frustrated. This person is annoyed. This person is agitated. And what you want to do is you want to get them envisioning with where it is that they're wanting to go to instead of more agent, more problems, more headaches, more all of this other stuff, which I know that you're talking about a proven system, which can be an option, but I'd rather that be plan C or plan D. Speaking of
Okay.
option, when I said I'm going to take the home off of the market, we're going to wait until the fall, you always want to go in the direction. Remember, we always use the word that's an option. Okay. Because in that, that
Yes.
is an agreement with them without actually agreeing with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's reverse role play. I'm going to pick up with where it is that I asked of you to leave off. So, Aqua, I'm sure you've received several calls by now regarding your home coming up on our computer as an expired listing. I was simply calling to see when are you planning to interview the right agent for the job of selling your home.
Yeah, you know what,
Hmm.
Robert? I think we're just going to hold off for a little bit. It was a very frustrating process, so I think we're just going to take a break, just take a
Yeah.
little breather.
Yeah. I mean, taking a little bit of breather, I can understand the frustration. I mean, I see here you were on the market for about 6 months. Is that accurate?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally get the process. I can imagine the frustrations in regards to the cleaning, the preparing, and of course, doing everything that it takes to show the home, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now tell me a little bit, Aqua, in regards to the where you guys were planning on moving to in the first place.
Well, we're just gonna move,
Hmm.
about maybe 30 minutes from where we are now. We
Hmm.
need a bigger home,
Oh,
basically.
okay.
Yeah.
So not too big of a move. It's basically just a little bit bigger and wanting to stay for the most part in the area. What's the benefit of this bigger home, by the way?
Well,
Hmm.
we've outgrown the home that we're in.
Okay.
We have a larger family now,
Yeah.
and so we just need more space.
Yeah, I totally get that. I'm looking at the information here. I have a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's a little over 1,200 square feet home. How much more home are you wanting, by the way?
Probably we need at least 5 bedrooms now.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so you guys definitely have expanded. So 5 bedrooms. What's the square footage? What else are you guys looking for in that next home?
Probably about 3,000 square feet,
Okay.
and like I said,
Mhm.
additional bedrooms.
Yeah.
More. We need a family room as well.
Oh my goodness. Aqua, it sounds to me as if though you definitely are in a position wanting to expand, getting something a little bit bigger. Of course, 5 bedrooms from the 3 bedrooms, almost triple the size of the home. I mean, what was the benefit of getting this bigger home for you and your family?
The benefit
Hmm.
is just, more living space for my family. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we're just kind of living on top of each other right now.
Yeah, I definitely get that and I understand. And between you and your husband, who is most looking forward to this bigger home, by the way?
I think we both are.
Yeah, I totally get that. Aqua, I totally understand. It's definitely an option to wait this thing through. What I'd rather do, I'm sure you've gotten an abundance of calls already by now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
Mm.
been bombarded with realtors this morning.
Yeah. And what we want to do, Aqua, I'm sure you've heard of the saying, we want to strike while the iron is hot. You've heard of that saying, right?
Yes.
And I get it. There is an option to wait this thing through. What I'd rather do is I'd love the opportunity just simply to explore if it does make more sense to do this now, take advantage of all the realtors that are calling you. Aqua, I really honestly don't mind. We can invest maybe 15, 20 minutes of each other's time and talk about it. And if it does make more sense to wait until that later time, Aqua, you guys always have that option. I'm going to be out in your neighborhood later today. I can stop by at 3 o'clock, or would it be better for me to stop by at 4 o'clock so we can kind of go through this?
Um, you know,
Hmm.
I- Let me get back to you. I need to speak with my husband.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So in this, I'm going to stop right here just for the sake of time. Okay.
Okay.
So in this, I want to make sure that the audience understands, and also in the direction of what we're talking about, Aqua. Do you see how I parked in the direction of
Yeah.
you, your motivation, I painted
Yep.
that picture very clear for you.
Yep. Exactly. And it was more about me and what my needs were.
Yeah, yeah, because in that we can go into so many cliche objection handlers, and I'm not saying that they're wrong because there's some great objection handlers. But going into the, all of these objection handlers, like let's do this now, makes more sense for you guys. I'm drawing blanks because I don't really use too many of the objection handlers from that direction because I focus on the, of course, people. I want you guys all to focus on again the motivation. So I apologize because I don't
Yeah.
really use too many of those type of objection handlers because I focus on the client. Now, did I veer off script? 100%. But under one condition, we always have to remember number one condition is always if we're going to go in the direction of motivation who, what, when, where, why, how, and the occasional if, which is acceptable as long as it is about their motivation. The script is a guide. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I go through, ask that one, two, or three questions, and then boom, I come right back to
Yeah.
the how soon were you wanting to be there? And then I pick up where I left off. And then I go in this direction who, what, when, where, why, how, and of course, if. Are we all on
It
the same
works
page?
for you, Robert. I think because you've internalized the script
Yeah.
and it just kind of flows and you can, yeah.
Well, let me give you guys basically here's a little bit of a cheater code. You guys want the cheater code? Okay. Take my scripts, take the scripts, go and get them laminated. Okay. Get a well, not a Sharpie, don't do a Sharpie. Dry erase. Okay, get a dry erase. And as you're going through, cross it out. Okay, ask that question. That's simple. Right next to it, the where are you planning on moving? Because we forget, where are you planning on moving? I'm
Yeah.
moving over here, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Then I look over here, what's the benefit of making this move? Why is this move so important for you and your family? Who in your family is most excited? Okay. How is this going to impact you and your family? What are you guys most looking forward to? Who's waiting for you guys on the other side when you do get this property sold? All of those things. Okay. And it's not magic. It's just right there. You're just, in a sense, reading off of it.
Right.
And then you go back to, okay, I left off right there. Question number 4. Okay. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and close out expireds tomorrow. I'm going to encourage you to continue to show up. Next week, database. Okay, we're going to get back to this. I know everybody's favorite subject. Okay, so we'll pick up again. Appreciate you guys showing up. I'll see you guys when I see you guys next week. In the meantime, go ahead and, of course, go take a listing or 5, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7:30, bright and early. See you then. All right, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7:30. Make sure you guys tune in. I'm going to continue to encourage you guys to come join us over on Zoom. You don't have to show your face, okay? So whether you do or you don't have your makeup on, you're welcome to, of course, show up and visit us over here on Zoom. Benefit of that is, of course, you get the opportunity to see the script. And, of course, you're welcome, Tony. And, of course, you guys get the opportunity to see exactly the dialogue as I continue to just go line by line. All right, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.